Yashodanandana Vrajjanarandana Yashodanandana Vrajjanarandana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jai Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्रोत श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्रोत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत गोस्वामी ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की श्री वृंदावन धाम की नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी की गंगा मई की जमुना मई की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी देवी की समवेता भक्तवृंद की taking over the world Shri Prabhupada stands in book distribution Daiva Ashram farm communities ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupada Hare Krishna Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, text number 14. Shashvat Swarupam Mahasa Evam Nipitam Bheda Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Namaham Parasmai Vishva Udbhava Sthiti Layeshu Nimittam Leela Rasaya Te Namaham Idam Shakma Ishvaraya Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Bedha Mohaya Bodhati Shanaya Namah Parasmai Vishvodbhava Sthiti Layeshu Nimitta Leela Rasayate Nama Idam Chakrimeshwaraya Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Bedha Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Namah Parasmai Vishvodbhava Sthiti Layeshu Nimitta Leela Rasayate Nama Idam Chakrimeshwaraya Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Bedha Mohaya Bodha Nidishanaya Namah Parasmai Vishvodbhava Sthiti Layeshu Nimitta Leela Rasayate Nama Idam Chakrimeshwaraya
Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Veda Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Namah Parasmai Vishvodbhavastiti Laeshu Nimitta Leela Rasayate Nama Idam Chakrameshwaraya Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Bheda Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Namah Parasmai Vishvodbhavastita Laeshu Nimitta Leela Rasayate Nama Idam Chakrameshwaraya
Mataji's, please.
Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Bheda Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Namah Parasmai Vishvodbhavastiti Laeshu Nimitta Leela Rasayate Nama Idam Chakrameshwaraya Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Bheda
Parasmai.
Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Namah Parasmai Vishvodbhavastiti Laeshu Nimitta Leela
Rasayate Nama Idam Chakrameshwaraya.
Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Bheda Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Namah Parasmai Vishvodbhavastiti Laeshu Nimitta
Leela. Rasayate Nama Idam Chakrameshwaraya. Shashvat, eternally. Swarupam, transcendental form. Mahasam, by the glorious. Evam, certainly. Nipitam, distinguished. Bhedam, differentiation. Mohayam, unto the illusory conception. Bodham, self-knowledge. Dishanayam, intelligence. Namaham, obeisances. Parasmai, unto the transcendence. Vishva Udbhavam, creation of cosmic manifestation. Sthiti, maintenance. Layeshu, also destruction. Nimittam, for the matter of. Leela, by such pastimes. Rasaya, for enjoyment. Te, unto you. Namaha, obeisances. Idam, this. Chakrama, do I perform. Ishvaraya, unto the Supreme. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Let me offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Transcendence, who is eternally distinguished by His eternal potency. His indistinguishable impersonal feature is realized by intelligence for self-realization. I offer my obeisances unto Him, who by His pastimes enjoys the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. Purport. The Supreme Lord is eternally distinguished from the living entity by His internal potency. Although He is also undisturbed by His impersonal feature by self-realized intelligence. Devotees of the Lord therefore offer all respectful obeisances unto that impersonal feature of the Lord. The word rasa is significant herein. The rasa dance is performed by Lord Krishna in the company of the cowherd damsels at Vrindavan. And the personality of Godhead, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, is also engaged in rasa enjoyment with his external potency, by which he creates, maintains, and dissolves the entire material manifestation. Indirectly, Lord Brahma offers his respectful obeisances unto Lord Sri Krishna, who is factually ever engaged in the rasa enjoyment with the gopis, as confirmed in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad in the following words. Pararadhante sobhudhyata gopavesho me purushav purastat avir bhabhuva. The distinction between the Lord and the living entity is definitely experienced when there is sufficient intelligence to understand his internal potency, as distinguished from the external potency by which he makes possible the material manifestation. Om Agnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utafpada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakan Vatamscha He Krishna Karuna Sandho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sandubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminati Namine Harijana Ganabadi Jnana Karmandahari Prakritita Parabhaktir Bhakti Siddhanta Kantihi Vinayanikara Lakshmir Nimna Maidaira Gamyo Bhuvijayati Vikaso Bhakti Purvo Yatindraha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarane Vagisha Yasya Vadane Lakshmir Yasya Chivakshase Yasyasya Hidaya Samritam Rasimham Aham Bhaje Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karti Vachalam Pangum Langai Tegirim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Yasya Deve Parabhaktir Yata Deve Tata Guru Tasya Tekadita Yarta Prakashante Mahatmanaha. So we're seeing this verse where after describing the different types of devotees who worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and helping us understand the conditions of the living entities who are forgetful of Krishna, Lord Brahma is offering his respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is eternally distinguished by his internal potency, and he also offers his respectful obeisances unto the impersonal Brahman feature. Srila Prabhupada opens up this purport by saying the Supreme Lord is eternally distinguished from the living entity by his internal potency, although he is understood in his impersonal feature by self-realized intelligence. This is very important. We see the way the verse begins is Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Bheda. Right? That the Supreme Lord by his internal potency clearly establishes the fact that he is different from us. We see that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes and performs pastimes with his internal potency, the living entities cannot imitate it. For example, it's considered to be a major achievement even to maintain one wife. What to speak of 16,108 wives. There have been people in for example, if you go to India, you'll see the palaces of many kings and this and that, and you also see palaces of Muslims who also had many wives. Some of them had about 200 wives. Some of them had about 300 wives. But the way it would go is that he may spend one day with each wife every day. Every day, one day with each wife. So all of them have felt completely dissatisfied because, come on, you're only with your husband for one day. So if you lived if you had a married life for 50 years, you'll probably get to be with him for 50 days only. That's how insignificant a living entity is. But we see when Krishna is in Dwarka, he has 16,108 wives. And he was simultaneously with all of them at the same time. When Krishna lives the Govardhan Hill. These are all pastimes exhibited by his internal potency. His Hladini Shakti. That Krishna is lifting the Govardhan Hill. Krishna is dancing with the cowherd boys. He's dancing in the Rasa Leela. He's performing all these pastimes. Living entities cannot do that. What to speak of lifting Govardhan Hill? Living entities can't even lift. They can't even lift a Bhagavatam set with one finger. What to speak of with one finger? Who can lift a Bhagavatam set with one finger? I don't even think like some big wrestlers can do that. Lift the Bhagavatam set on your pinky finger. They can't do that. It's just 50 pounds. How many pounds is Govardhan Hill? Who knows? It must be really heavy, right? But Krishna was able to lift it, no effort. It's not like Krishna did a few push-ups before he lifted the Govardhan Hill. He just lifted it up, put it up like that, and 7 days, no problem, playing his flute sometimes. And then some Acharya say the devotees were also feeding him while he was lifting the hill. First he had it like this, and then the cowherd men thought, okay, we should help him. And they started putting up their canes, and then he lifted it up and put it on his pinky to establish the fact that, hey, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Supreme Lord is eternally distinguished from the living entities by his internal potency. So Shashvat Swarupa Mahasi Nipita Bedha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, he appears like this in order to do this. In order to do what? In order to destroy the misconceptions of the living entities. And the Brahman that's being described in this verse is the impersonal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. An important point to note that it is not attainable by the Mayavadis. It is not attainable by the Mayavadis. It is not. Those people who actually attain Brahman, actual Brahman realization, are the Brahmavadis. Why? Because even Brahman is an aspect of Krishna, and you can't attain Krishna by being offensive to him, unless you're a big demon and Krishna comes and kills you. And then your offenses are taken care of. But we say that the Mayavadis, what is their position? Yenyera Vindaksha Vimukta Manana Swayasta Bhava Avishuddha Buddhaya Aruhya Krishrena Param Padam Tadha Patantyado Nadita Yusmat Angreha. That those people who reject the lotus feet of Krishna, who reject the beautiful transcendental lotus-like eyes of Krishna, Yenyera Vindaksha Vimukta Maninas, and they think Vimukta Maninas, they believe that they are liberated. They're under the illusion that they're liberated. Vimukta Maninas, I believe that I'm liberated. Like we can see so many people, they tell us in books that actually I'm liberated, I don't care about this, I don't care about that, I am God, you are God, all this kind of rubbish. But when it comes to practical things, they cannot display their godly powers. They cannot display their godly powers. It's completely useless. So, Vimukta Maninas, Tvaya Sabhava Avishuddha Buddhayaha. That we can see again in this verse, there's an amazing statement. It says, Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya. That we see in the second line, it says, Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya. And then the Prabhupada translates in the word for word, Mohaya, unto the illusory conception, Bodha, self-knowledge, Dishanaya, intelligence. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead has he has his internal potency and is the abode of all intelligence. Whereas the jivas in the material world are covered by ignorance. So his Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaya Nipita Bheda, his transcendental form distinguishes, and his transcendental form using which he enjoys the material, enjoys his internal and external potency, distinguishes him from the living entities. At the same time, he's Mohaya Bodha Nidishanaya. He's Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya. He's also the very reservoir of all intelligence, whereas the living entities are completely bewildered by material existence. They're completely bewildered by avidya. We have no conception about what's going on in this material world. The living entity is covered by avidya. And the main thing which is actually covering the living entity is the false ego. If you read, and as we further on read in the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, when it starts getting extremely heavy, in the end of the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Hanumat Preshak Maharaj is like, whoops, what happened in the third canto? It's so heavy. So over there, Kapila Dev makes his point. He says that the false ego is the finest point of the living entity's association with matter, where the living entity starts to think that matter is meant for my enjoyment. If the living entity starts to think that the matter is meant for my enjoyment, and when the living entity starts to think like that, then he starts to associate with everything else around him and starts to exploit matter. Until then, the living entity does not have a desire to exploit matter. I mean, he does have a desire, but he doesn't have the facility or the means to do it. But once he gets a false identification, from that false identification, he gets all these false senses that he identifies with. He gets all these false sense objects that he identifies with, etc., etc. So, we see the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not like that. He is not like that. He is never bewildered by any of his potency, internal or external potency. He is never bewildered by them. And the living entities are always bewildered by the external potency of the Supreme Lord. We see, it was a Daivi Hesha Guna Mahima Maya Durateya. Only if Krishna is merciful, Mameva Ye Prapatyante and Maya Metam Tarantite. Only if the Supreme Personality of Godhead is merciful unto the living entities can the living entities actually be freed from the cycle of birth and death, can actually be freed from the clutches of Maya. Otherwise, it is not possible. Very important point to understand is he is eternally distinguished from by his internal potency. By his internal potency, he is eternally distinguished. That we can never become Krishna. Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. Right? We are eternal parts and parcels of Krishna, and we are eternally separated from him. Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke. These are all these fragmental parts and parcels are fragmental parts and parcels of Krishna. Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. These are living entities. They're eternally separated from Krishna. But Mana Chastani Indriyani Prakritistani Karshiti. But they're struggling with the three modes of material nature. They're struggling with the senses. They're struggling with the six senses. And then we see, because they're struggling with these senses, then they're illusioned in the material world. But Krishna is not struggling with his senses. Okay, is there any point that you read in the Krishna book or the Srimad Bhagavatam, oh, Krishna lost his control of his senses and he did this? No. He's always under control. Even when he's fighting a war, even when he's riding Arjuna's chariot, even when he's doing all these things that Krishna does, he never at any point of time ceases being God or actually becomes a conditioned soul at any point of time. So, the internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead distinguishes him like this. And the devotees of the Lord therefore offer all respectful obeisances unto the impersonal feature of the Lord. We offer a respectful obeisance and the impersonal feature of the Lord. Why? You can pull up Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, text number 27. Brahmanohi pratishtaham. Last verse. So, Brahmanohi pratishtaham. Amritasya vyasaya cha. Shashvatasya. Again, same word that we see in this verse. Shashvatasya. Shashvatasya cha dharmasya. Sukhasyai kantikasya cha. Translation. I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Krishna is the basis of this. All this impersonal Brahman, all this stuff is coming from Krishna. It's not that Krishna is coming from this. My Guru Maharaj, he gives this example often, that once I think it was in the 90s or early 2000s, he was giving he was invited to do a program in the Hinduja Motors. It's a big in their place. It's a very big company. They make motors for different cars and vehicles in India and whatever. So then he went there, giving the program, and they had a poster of the universe, and it had the material worlds, all the different divisions. Then it had Vaikuntha. Then it had Ayodhya, and on top it had Radha and Krishna. But then, on top of Radha and Krishna, there was a Om. And that just ruined everything. Because the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna doesn't say, I come from Brahman. He's saying, Brahman comes from me. But foolish people don't understand this point. They think that, Krishna is coming from Brahman. Krishna is coming from this. But no, Krishna is not coming from Brahman. You pull up Bhagavad Gita 7:24. Avyaktam vyaktam apannam manyante mama buddhayaha param bhavam ajanantam mama vyamanutamam. So over here, Krishna makes a very... They say that this is an important point to know. 24, Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. That's why if you look at the Sanskrit over here, avyaktam vyaktam apannam, that the Mayavadi is saying that Krishna is a vyakti. Who speaks Indian language? None of you. You speak. What language do you speak, Mataji? You look Indian. Okay, what does vyakti mean? Person. So the Mayavadis think that Krishna was a avyakti. He was not a person before. Then he becomes a vyakti. Avyaktim vyaktim apannam. He becomes a person. Avyaktim. He was not a person. Then he becomes a person. And then again he starts being a person. That's what these foolish Mayavadis think. Avyaktim vyaktim apannam. But we can say that they do not know Krishna. Unintelligent men who not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was impersonal before, and I have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. They do not know Krishna's higher nature. They do not understand Krishna's higher nature. Why? Because they're envious of Krishna. Because they're envious of Krishna. And what happens to these fools? Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita 9.11, Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashitam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Krishna says over here, fools deride me when I descend in the human form, do not know my transcendental nature, the supreme lord of all that be. And then Krishna says, what happens to these fools? Moghasha, next verse, Moghasha moga karmano moga jnana vichetasaha rakshasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shitaha. Those who are thus bewildered and are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In their deluded conditions, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. All these are defeated. So, we understand, we can understand and see that all these foolish Mayavadis, what do they get? What do they get in the end of all their things? Patanti dona dita yusmad angreha aruhya krishna param padam tada patanti dona dita yushmad angreha. They fall back down to the material existence. They fall back down, they become a great philanthropist or this or that and this and that. Why? Because they don't have a higher taste. By Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.4 says, Atma Ramasya Munayo Nirgrantapi Rukrame Kurvantyahetu Kim Bhaktim Itam Bhutva Guno Harehe. It's a very important verse. Go to verse number 8. I'm sure it's verse. Yeah, go for that. Oh no, go back. What's the verse number for Atma Ramasya Munayo? Go back one more. Oh no, okay, we can quote this verse too, but nope. Keep going. Anyway, can you find the verse? I would like to read the translation. And there's 81 different meanings to these words, Prabhu's and Mataji's. It's 81 different meanings to these words. And I remember when we were reading the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, I don't know if you remember this, Mitravan Prabhu, when we were doing it, reading the first canto and we reached the Atma Rama verse. It's 10. Oh, verse number 10. That was close. Okay, verse number 10. Just hit cancel, please, on the top. Okay. Yeah, keep going. Forward. Okay. There you go. Atma Rama Shimanayo Nirgrantapi Rukrame Kurvantyahetu Kim Bhaktim Ittam Bhutva Guno Harehe. Translation, please. All different varieties of Atma Ramas, those who take pleasure in Atma or spirit or self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service under the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including the liberated souls. So the Mayavadis are rascals because they're not attracted to the transcendental features of Krishna. They're not attracted to the transcendental pastimes of Krishna. Therefore, they are bogus rascals who deserve to be kicked on their face with spiked boots. So we should understand this is completely bogus, that they do not realize Krishna's eternal transcendental form. That's why, could you look up this Aho Bakiya, that verse, whatever that verse is? That's why Shukadeva Goswami, when he ran away from home, that like we see in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Yam Pravrajantam Anupetam, no, was that Yaswanu, Yam Pravrajantam, you can pull up 1, 2, 2. Yam Pravrajantam Anupetam Apetya Krityam Dvaipayano Virha Kataro Ajuhava Putreti Tanmaya Tayatara Vobhinedus Tam Sarva Bhuta Hridayam Munamanatosme. Srila Suta Goswami said, let me offer my respectful obeisance unto the great Sri Shukadeva Goswami, who can enter into the hearts of all. Yeah, there you go. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyas, leaving home without undergoing the reformation by the sacred ceremonies observed by the higher caste, his father, Vyasadeva, fearing separation from him, cried out, "O my son! Indeed, only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the bereaved father." So he ran away from home. Shukadeva Goswami ran away from home. So what did Vyasadeva do? Then he had one of his disciples who went inside the forest to collect wood or something like this, and he had him recite 3 verses, out of which I can only remember 2 right now. Please forgive me. One of the verses that he made him recite is 113. Nigama kalpataro galitam phalam shukamukadamrita drava samitam pipata bhagavatam rasamalaya muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. Over here, O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Boom, again, right there on the point. The Srimad Bhagavatam is relishable for all, including the liberated souls. But if the foolish rascals they think Vimukta Maninas. They think Vimukta Maninas because they think they're liberated. They do not understand how Krishna is different from the living entity as Shashvat Swarupa, what is that? Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Bedha. They don't understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is different from the living entities because of his activities but with his internal potency. They do not understand this point. And because they do not understand this point, they're fools and rascals. That's the whole point. And Krishna is also Bodha Dishanaya. Yeah, he is the very abode of all transcendental intelligence. Therefore, those devotees who actually meditate upon the transcendental form of Krishna attain his nature. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, they attain his nature. What's the verse for Aho Bhakya? What's that? 3.2.23. You can pull up this verse. So now there is another verse that this disciple of Vyasadeva recited in order to attack Shukadeva Goswami. Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam jigham shayapa yayat apyasadvi lebe gatim dhatra uchitam latonyam kamva dayalum sharanam vrajema. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she-demon Putana, although she was unfaithful and she was prepared she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. So Shukadeva Goswami heard this verse and he's thinking, what's going on? How is it that me, who am completely detached from everything in this material world, how am I attracted to this? He's completely on the platform of Brahman realization. How is he attracted to this? Then he realizes that there must be something more. Then he goes and inquires from him, what are these verses you're speaking? Oh, my guru taught me and I only know 3 verses. Who's your guru? Vyasadeva. Oh, okay, that's my father. Therefore, let me go back and learn the Srimad Bhagavatam to say it to Shukadeva, to say it to Maharaj Parikshit. And then my disciple Sutta Goswami will be there. And he will speak it to the sages of Naimisharanya. And then His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada would translate the Srimad Bhagavatam into the English language meant for the revolution in this world's misdirected civilization, 1.5.11. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin prati shlokam abadavat tyatyatyapi. I always mess that one up. Naman anantasya shon kitaniyat shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha. On the other hand, that transcendental literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words, directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Next words, please. Then we see, I guess I could keep, let's see the translation because otherwise. Knowledge of self-realization, even though free from material, this is important. This is very important to this verse that we're reading right now. This point, Bodha Dishanaya, is very important. Knowledge of self-realization, even though free from material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conception of the infallible God. It does not look well. It does not look well. Why? Because the living entity by nature has to be attached to something. You can be, the Mayavadis are not attached to anything. No, they're attached to being not attached. They're attached to being detached. So the living entity has to be attached to something all the time. That is what the living, and no, Prabhu, but there's so many mental people. Yeah, they're attached to being on the mental platform. The living entity's nature is to be attached to something at all times, places, and circumstances. That is what the living entity does, is he's attached to something. Therefore, if you simply develop knowledge of self-realization without material affinity, fantastic, that's great. But you have to develop attachment under the transcendental pastimes and forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You have to do it. Or at least, even if you don't develop a super-duper attachment, at least you should not be envious of the transcendental form of the Supreme Lord. You can be a Brahmavadi if you want. See, from from an objective perspective, it's not so hard to come to Brahman realization. Because you realize, okay, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that, naiti, 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 okay, great. Then you could also come to the platform of Paramatma realization by realizing, okay, I'm not that person in my heart. But then it is the understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is the hard part, because you have to follow the scientific process of Sharanagati to attain the lotus feet of Krishna. Because until you're doing this, you're not really getting personal. But when you start getting personal with someone, then you have to do what they want if you want them to like you. You have to behave the way they want you to if you want them to like you. You have to make sure that their time is being used properly if you want them to like you. And don't worry, Krishna is not some big kind of tyrant who hates everyone and like you just mess up once and he throws you in hell forever. But he's sulabha, he's very easily obtainable. That all the Vaishnavas, especially the Sri Vaishnavas, they like to glorify the solabhyatvam of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The easily attainable nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They very easily, oh, Krishna, he becomes so pleased, oh, my devotee, he did all this amazing thing for me. He did all these amazing things for me. It's very ecstatic to see. That's why, let's see, how are we doing? 8:20, okay, we're 20 minutes more. Mithran, can you look up this word, Swagatam Vatsa? If you can look that up, we can read a section of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which I've read a few times in classes. It's very endearing and enlivening to hear. My spiritual master himself has read this, at least in 1 or 2 lectures that I can remember. But this is we can understand the nature of Krishna. You can have that ready, Mitravan Prabhu. But we say that if knowledge of self-realization, even though free from it, does not look well if devoid of a conception of the infallible God, what then is the use of fruitive activities which are naturally painful from the beginning and transient by nature if they're not utilized for devotional service of the Lord? What is the use? What is the use of your existence if you're not becoming a devotee of Krishna? What is the use? It's all completely useless. That's why we can see, now you can go, Bhakti Yogena Manasi, it's Canto 1, Chapter 7, text number 4. Of the Srimad Bhagavatam. These few verses are very important to understand. It is very amazing. Why? Because in this verse, there's so much amazing nectar in here. Because he's speaking about how the transcendental form of Krishna who's associated with Krishna, with his internal potency, distinguishes the living entity from the jivas, point number 1. Second point is the living entities are completely covered over by ignorance. Third point, Krishna is not covered by ignorance. Fourth point is he's the very abode of transcendental intelligence. And then he also, and then the Brahman feature, the devotees offer respectful obeisance unto him. All these points are there. Therefore, we see, Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranihite Male Apashyat Purusham Purnam Mayam Chatat Apashrayam. Thus, Vyasadeva fixed his mind perfectly, engaging it by linking it in devotional service, bhakti yoga, without any tinge of materialism. And then what did he see? So many people claim to see Krishna. So many people claim to have full realization of Krishna. The Mayavadis think they have realization of Krishna. But look, and thus he saw the absolute personality of Godhead along with his external energy, which was under his full control. This is an important point. That's why the Mayavadis are rascals. That's why they're rascals. Why? Because they think that Krishna can be covered over by Maya. That is false. That's not what the Shastra says. The Bhagavatam says it's right here. Right? Can you go to the Sanskrit, please? Up. More? Yeah, okay, the last line. Yeah, there you go. Last line, please. Yeah. Mayam chatat apashrayam. The external potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot cover him over. It's as clear as day. What do you need to speculate about? But they are rascals. What can you do? What can you do? These are rascals. That's what rascals say and do. Therefore, it's very important for us to understand, yes, we do offer a humble and respectful obeisances unto the Brahman effulgence. Great. Why? Because it's coming from Krishna. Okay, very good. But we want to go to the topmost because that's what Srila Prabhupada wants us to do. That's what Prabhupada wants us to do. So Bhakti Yogena Manasi, when his mind was completely freed from any material contamination, he linked it with devotional service. And he had darshan of the Supreme Absolute Personality of Godhead and also the external energy of the Lord. She's always behind him because she's under his full control, and also because she's very ashamed to come in front of him. It's an important point. Next verse. Yaya samohito jivo atmanam trigunatmakam parupi manupe nartham tatkritam chapi padyate. Due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a product, as a material product, and thus undergoes reactions of material miseries. Boom! On point with this purport. Yet again, Srila Prabhupada, every line that he quotes is in his purport is simply a verse from the Shastra. If we only know how to read his books properly, then we'll be able to understand these points. So we say that, and then you can read the next verse. The next verse is very amazing. Anartho pasamam sakshat bhakti yogam adokshije lokasya janato vidvam shakre satata samhitam. Very amazing. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this. Therefore, Vyasadeva, the learned Vyasadeva is Vidvan. Vidvan means learned. That's right. Vidvan. He is not dumb. He's not foolish like the people of the world. He is Vidvan. He is very intelligent. Therefore, what did he do? Chakre Satata Samhitam. Compile this Vedic literature which is in relation to the Supreme Truth. So this is the Srimad Bhagavatam, the literary incarnation of Krishna. Krishna swadhamo pagate dharma jnana dibisaha kalo nasha dishamesha purana arko dunoditaha. When one reads the Srimad Bhagavatam, then they will be able to understand, oh, this is who Krishna is. This is what my relationship with Krishna is. Then they get real transcendental knowledge because of being associated with the Supreme Personality of God. It is a very important point. You can pull up now, Isha Upanishad, it's, verse number 15. There's no first chapter, it's just 18 verses. So, verse number 15. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hito mukam tattvam pushan apavrinu satya dharmaya drishtyaye. Now, O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove the covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. And Prabhupada in the purport quotes, of course, what does he quote with the verse we just read? Brahmano hi pratishtaham. There you go. We just read this verse. Then you can keep going. You can see. Stop. No. Yeah. Up. One more. Okay. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are the three aspects of the same absolute truth. Brahman is the aspect of most easily perceived by the beginner. Paramatma is realized by those who have further progress, and Bhagavan realization is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. That's why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mata Farataram Nanyat Kinchidasi Dhananjaya Mai Sarvamidam Protam Sutri Manigana Iva. Everything that you see in this material world is completely controlled by Krishna. He is the source of everything. He is the basis of everything. Just like sometimes you can't see him. You can't see Krishna. But just like you can't see the thread which is holding the necklace of pearls together, Krishna is holding everything together in the material world. So, and the spiritual world also. So, we see that again, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, text number 10, Jyotishamapi, what is that? Let me see if I can find it. Text number 18, sorry. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, 13, okay. Jyotishamapi tad jyotis tamasaf paramuchyate gnanam gneyam gnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. This is very important. Again, similar words are used in this verse, and Prabhupada is referring to this verse also in this purport. He says, He is the source of all light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. Again, we just said it. Bodha Dishanaya. He is the object of knowledge and He is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. See, these are important points to know. We have to understand these points. When we understand these points, then we can understand Krishna and truth. And when you understand Krishna and truth, what happens? What happens when you understand Krishna and truth? You don't take birth again. What's the verse for this one? Jarma karma chame divyam. Evam yoveti tatataha. Yaktva deham punarjanma. Naiti mameti sorchita. You will not take birth again if you understand this. That's why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropisan. Na yudyate tadatma. No. What's the next line? Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropisan. Whoa. I'm having I don't know what movement here, but anyone knows this verse? You can look at it, 4.8 Bhagavad Gita. Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropisan. Prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavam yatma maya. Okay, great. Go back, please. Back one more. Keep going back, you'll find it. There you go, okay. Okay, Prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavam yatma maya. Okay, that's right, okay. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Krishna is unborn and his transcendental body never deteriorates. Krishna is making it so clear here. But still the Mayavadis are so foolish. So many verses there in the Bhagavad Gita. 2:12. Natam eva ham jatanasham natam neme janadipa nachaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayam atav param. Krishna says, never was there a time where I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Krishna is making it so clear over here. He's making it so clear over here. But still, people don't understand. Krishna is raso vaisaha. Krishna is someone who's always enjoying rasa. And as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rajendranandan Krishna, he is enjoying the rasa, the ultimate rasa of enjoying the rasa dance. He's enjoying the rasa dance with the gopis. There's unlimited amount of gopis. Was a Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu Kalpa Vriksha Laksha Vitesha Surabhira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Sheta Sambhrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Krishna is there. Lakshmi Sahasra Sheta Sambhrama Sevyamanam. Unlimited amount of gopis are there ready to serve Krishna. They're waiting to be served by, to be enjoyed by Krishna. They're waiting to be enjoyed by Krishna. Each of them has something so unique to offer to Krishna. Krishna is enjoying the rasa. And in the center of rasa dance is Shri Radha and Krishna. Krishna is enjoying the association of Srimati Radharani. It's the topmost thing. How do we understand? How do we understand these points? We understand these points by the mercy of Krishna. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. He's hard to understand. He's hard to understand by simply studying the Vedas and being extremely renounced and doing like this and doing like that, this, that and the other thing. But Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. That we see that we can achieve Krishna by the mercy of the devotees. By the mercy of the devotees. When we get the mercy of the devotees of the Supreme Personality of God, they can give Krishna to us. That is why we like to run around Tulsi when Maharaj is running also. And this is Rishi Kumar Prabhu's realization. That it's the practical experience of Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakati ache. Ami tu kangal, Krishna Krishna poli, dahi tava pache pache. That he says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, my dear Vaishnava Thakur, Krishna is yours. Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite paro. You have the Shakti to give Krishna to me. Tomara shakati ache. Ami tu kangal. Therefore, I'm crying and crying, shouting, Krishna, Krishna, and running behind you in Tulsi Puja, running behind the spiritual master. It's amazing. We can actually do that. It's really ecstatic to have the fortune of doing that. Running behind the spiritual master during Tulsi Puja. Daitava Pache Pache. Running around behind him shouting Krishna, 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 chanting Hare Krishna, especially when Giri leads Kirtan. You really have to scream. We're running behind him shouting Krishna, Krishna. So, it's very good. It's a very good, and that is the way you attain Krishna. That's the way. The distinction between the Lord and the living entities is definitely experienced when there is sufficient intelligence to understand his internal potency as distinguished from the external potency by which he makes possible a material manifestation. The internal potency of the Supreme Lord, that's why she's known as Ha Dini Shakti. She's known as Ha Dini Shakti. She who gives Krishna unlimited enjoyment. And then we can say the external potency of the Supreme Lord, Rama Devi. He enjoys his pastimes with her when he glances at her. And this, by understanding the difference between Krishna's external and internal potency, a living entity can realize Krishna. You can experience this by understanding what is the difference between Krishna's internal potency and Krishna's external potency. Krishna's internal potency can be experienced by who? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. That's right. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Canto. Sorry. Chapter 9. Text number 10, Mahatmanas to, 12. 13, yeah, for sure, okay. No, 14, it's 14, okay, yeah. Mahatmanas to Mam Partha, Daivim Prakriti Mashita, Bhajantenanya Manaso, Jnata Bhuta, Damavyayam. And then Krishna says, Satadam Kirtayanto Mam, Ye Janaf Paryupashate, Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam, Yoga, whoa. Satadam Kirtayanto Mam, Yatantasya Dridavrataha, Namashantasya Mam Bhaktya, Nitya Yukta Upasate. I was mixing it up. So now we can read the translation of both these verses. You can actually look at the Sanskrit first, please. Sorry about that, Giri. Okay, he's being my DJ today. So there you go. Daivim Prakriti Mashataha, the internal Mahatmas. Who are they under the shelter of? They're not under the shelter of the external potency of the Supreme Lord. They're under the shelter of the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. Internal potency. Daivim prakritim ashataha. We're under the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. Bhajanti ananda manaso gnatva bhutadam avyayam. Translation. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. They know. And what is the symptom of such a Mahatma? Satatam kirtayanto mam yatancha shatida vrataha namashanta shamam bhaktya nitya yukta pasate. Translation. Always chanting my glories. Always chanting Hare Krishna or distributing Prabhupada's books or composing books which help one develop their devotion to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. Always chanting my glories. Endeavoring with great determination. It takes a lot of determination to compile a book like Mood and Mission of Srila Prabhupada. For example, bowing down before me. One of my favorite. This is a controversial statement, right? I've read my Guru Maharaj's books, and then I always thought that my favorite book by my Guru Maharaj was Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhava. But after I read Jai Srila Prabhupada, I realized that that's my favorite book, actually. You can see it's him as a person showing us what it means to be fixed, Guru Napina Vichalyate, in devotion to Srila Prabhupada. It's really amazing. Maybe Mood and Mission will defeat it, I don't know. But Jai Srila Prabhupada is so amazing. It's so amazing. And then he writes this, I always wish to be eternally bowed down unto the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. And there's a picture of him bowing down, black and white picture. But he says, I just don't want to just lay there useless here. I also want to get up and do something useful. Yeah? So with great determination, it takes a lot, right? Endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. It's really amazing. And we can experience that. I was so eagerly looking forward to coming back from New Orleans and Texas and all this. I couldn't wait, like, bro, we have to go today. Driving. That ride felt so long, right? And when we came back, it was so ecstatic. It was so amazing. And then leading the kirtan, I was so nervous. I offended my spiritual master before. I didn't behave well with him. I thought he's just going to not even look at me. But then my spiritual master, during the kirtan, when I got a merciful glance. It was just infused with Shakti, and the kirtan, I tried to fire it up as much as possible. Why? Because Sa Aikshata, by the Supreme Lord, just by seeing, he could manifest. He could manifest this whole material world. Sa Aikshata, he's looking at the external potency of the Supreme Person, of his external potency. And just by looking at that external potency, he's able to transfer all the living entities into her womb, into the material energy's womb. And this whole material creation is created. So, similarly, that's why we always want to get the merciful glance of the pure devotee of the Supreme. Sa Aikshata, and when they see you, it's very amazing. That's why you can see, that even if someone is looking at you, you can feel their look, right? You ever had that experience? You're sitting there, and all of a sudden you look back and you find someone is looking at you, because you can feel their look. It's a real thing. Apparently, Suhotra Maharaj was sharing that even in the army, when you have to go and be a spy somewhere and you want to look at someone, you're taught to not look at them directly because they can feel your vision. You look at them sideways, or you look at them through a mirror or some kind of reflection, so because they should not feel your vision. These are real things. So this Supreme Personality, you've got a Sa Aikshata. He looks at this external potency, and then boom, and then the whole material world is created. But the internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's really amazing. When we understand how Krishna's forms are completely transcendental, what's this? Bejire munayo tagre bhagavantam madhokshacham sattvam vishuddham shemaya kalpante yenu taniha. That so many great personalities from before. What's the verse for this? What's the verse number? What's the verse for this? I think can you look up 1 to 24? Probably. Bejire munayo tagre bhagavantam madhokshacham sattvam vishuddham shemaya kalpante yenu taniha. Right before Mumukshavo. Go back, please. One more. Go back. Whoa, okay. I guess you should go forward, sorry. I'm pretty bad with numbers. Yeah, there you go. Boom. Okay. It was 25, is it? What's the verse number? 25. Okay. Translation. Previously, all the great sages rendered service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the material world. Naisham Matis Tagrav Urukramangrim, that's 7 5. What is this verse number? 7. What was the verse number for Nate Vidus Svarthagatami Vishram? Is it 28? Yeah, you can look up. It's probably 7528 or something. Naisham matistavad urukramangrim sprasya chanartha phagamo yadartha mahi yasham pada rajobhishekam nishkinchananam navinita yavat. No, this is definitely not it. What's the word? Nate viduswartagatim hi Vishnu. 8? Okay, then verse number 10. Go to verse number 10. Okay. Oh, chapter 8, is it? Okay, well, can you just find it? I'll just say the translation for this. Naisham matistavad urukramangrim. Sprishajanartha pagamo yadartaha. Mahi yasham padarajobhishekam nishkinchananam navinita yavat. That we understand that by rendering service to a person who is a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is it? Keep going. It's the 7th canto for sure. Okay, 7:531. Okay, click that. Go there. Now go to next verse. Okay, boom. Okay, yeah. So, translation, please. Okay. Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely freed from material contamination, persons very much inclined toward materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way, one can become freed from material contamination. That is the way you become free from material contamination. So, working very hard, right, in New Orleans and in Texas and this and that. Late nights, early mornings, no sleep. Prasadam was really, give me some. So many hardships, this and that. It was, on some days it was suffering. So, we go, and then we finally come back, and somehow we found an excuse to give Maharaj some books that he wanted. And then he just pulled us over to come for the massage. And then during the massage, I was so ecstatic. Maharaj was asking this and that, and he liked my jokes. And then at the end of it all, the most cherished goal was we were able to keep our heads on his lotus feet. That was ecstatic. That was a dream come true for all of us. It's so amazing. But that's the only what to do. It's very ecstatic. It's very amazing. And by doing this, by getting the mercy of the pure devotee, then we can understand the distinction between the Lord's internal and external potency. Otherwise, you get it all mixed up. And when you get it all mixed up, then you get messed up. Because then you understand what is Prakrita Rasa, what is mellows enjoyed on the mundane sentimental platform, and what is aprakrita rasa, mellows enjoyed on the completely transcendental platform. By getting the mercy of the pure devotees, then we'll understand and realize this. I'm sorry, I've gone a little over time. Anyway, I'll end the class here. If there's any questions or comments or protests, we can take them now. Okay, Rushuk. Where's Mason?
Vadanti.
Oh yeah, Vadanti tat tattva sattvam jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabhyate. Yes.
He said a lot faster.
Hey.
So the Supreme Lord is realized as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan.
Mm-hmm.
But like you were saying, some people they think that Krishna is coming from the Brahman realization. I saw a really interesting argument against this, and I think it's Canto 6, Chapter 4, text 46. I just saw it this morning. I'll see if this is the right one when it comes up. If not, I can just say what I remember.
Wow, this is an amazing verse.
think it's like 2 verses after this one.
Why don't you
It says
just take
conversation.
his phone and then you figure it
Okay.
out.
So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is speaking to Daksha,
Mm-hmm.
and he explains. Okay, it's this one. So it's just the next verse, verse 47. I am the reservoir of unlimited verse 48. I am the reservoir of unlimited potency, and therefore I am known as unlimited or all-pervading. From my material energy, the cosmic manifestation appeared within me. And in this universal manifestation appeared the chief being, Lord Brahma, who is your source and is not born of a material mother. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that this misconception people have that Krishna is coming from Brahman isn't possible because Brahman realization and Paramatma realization weren't there yet until the material manifestation
That's a fact.
comes about.
Whoa.
So,
That's a good one.
yeah,
That's a smash.
those weren't released yet.
Yeah. Smash. Yeah, that's a complete smash right there. Like that's like a smash of Beamer's mace or something.
Yeah, and there's one other argument. Oh yeah, and also the Supreme Personality of Godhead can't be understood by speculation or
Renunciation.
meditation because those weren't there yet until the material manifestation comes.
That's true.
They can only be realized by bhakti, which that's what's going on.
Bhakti Yogena Manasi. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic. Can you send me that verse and purport? It's really ecstatic. Great point. Yeah. Anything else? Yes, Suresh.
You said there was 3 verses
Yeah, I don't remember the third
that
one.
were spoken to who?
We are Shukadev Goswami.
Okay, so the one you pulled up is like the 113 where it addresses Shukadeva Goswami. So you recited the verse that
No,
addresses-
the expert and thoughtful man relation. Yeah, I mean we can understand that this is similar in that probably 1 or 2 verses may have a little different grammar when recited by Sutta Goswami, but this was 113. Then Ahobakiya, this one. Yeah, and then one more. I'm sorry, unable to remember. You know the third one, Mitra one. Okay,
I didn't know if it was like foreshadowing, like he was like, hey,
it's possible. Like, whoa, wait a minute, that's about me. Yeah. Anything else from the men's side? No, okay. Anything from the Mataji's side? Okay. Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sandhubhya vacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sa aikshata. That's a good one.
They weren't even released yet.
Boom.